2 Russian warships spotted off Taiwan's east coast. China offers closer military cooperation with Vietnam. Guatemalan presidential contender pitches closer China ties. China signs pacts with friend and partner, New Zealand. Israel approves plans for 5,000 more homes in occupied West Bank. Putin's ex-bodyguard Aleksey Dyumin tipped to replace Shoigu. Violence likely to push over 1 million refugees out of Sudan. South Koreans become younger than Korean age overnight.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Thursday, June 29th, and here are your top stories. Taiwan's defense ministry said the country spotted 2 Russian warships off its eastern coast on Tuesday and sent its own aircraft and ships to keep watch. The ministry said in a statement late on Tuesday the 2 frigates sailed in a northerly direction of Taiwan's east coast and then departed from our response zone in a southeasterly direction of the port city of Sudan, which is home to a major Taiwanese naval base. Taiwan's military sent aircraft and ships to keep watch and activated shore-based missile systems.
Russia's Interfax news agency reported on Tuesday that a detachment of ships of the Russian Pacific Fleet had entered the southern parts of the Philippine Sea to perform tasks as part of a long-range sea passage. Citing the press service of the Pacific Fleet, Interfax reported that the crews would conduct maneuvers, with a demonstration of the naval presence, in the Asia-Pacific region and as part of strengthening partnerships. There was no further detail on how many ships were involved.
While meeting with his Vietnamese counterpart on Tuesday, Chinese Defense Minister Li Shangfu said China is willing to work with Vietnam to strengthen high-level communication and cooperation between their militaries. In their meeting in Beijing, Li said China and Vietnam should continue to work hand in hand and closely unite in the new journey of socialism, safeguard the common strategic interests of the 2 countries, and make positive contributions to regional peace and stability.
Li told Vietnam's defense minister Phan Van Giang that relations between their militaries had developed well, adding that China's military was willing to push relations to a new level. Their meeting came after the USS Ronald Reagan made a stop in the Vietnamese port of Da Nang on Sunday, the third by a U.S. aircraft carrier since the end of the Vietnam War. The U.S. Navy visit comes amid tension between China and the United States in the South China Sea, as the 2 powers jostle for influence in the energy-rich region.
An anti-corruption presidential candidate in Guatemala, whose surprise showing in a first-round election on Sunday means he will contest a runoff vote in August, said on Tuesday he would pursue closer relations with China if he wins. Bernardo Arevalo, in an interview with the Concretario radio program, said, "We need to work on our trade relations and expand them in the case of China." Guatemala, Central America's most populous country, has for decades opted for ties with Taiwan instead of China.
Arevalo's comments follow China's success in recent years peeling off one-time allies of Taipei. In March, Honduras's leftist president Xiomara Castro opened relations with China after cutting ties with Taiwan. Arevalo, a 64-year-old center-left congressman and son of a former president, said he seeks to maintain good political relations with the Republic of China and Taiwan within the framework of mutual respect. Guatemala is one of 12 countries, plus the Vatican, with official diplomatic ties with Taiwan.
China signed cooperative arrangements with friend New Zealand on Wednesday during a visit by New Zealand's Prime Minister Chris Hipkins. The focus for Hipkins on his week-long visit has been increasing New Zealand's exports. According to Chinese state media, the 2 sides agreed in a joint declaration to strengthen trade and expand cooperation in areas such as e-commerce, the green economy, and establish a dialogue mechanism on new energy vehicles.
你就任总理后多次表示重视中新关系，将继续加强同中国的合作，我对此十分赞赏。
The media reported they agreed on strengthening cooperation on food security and agriculture, based on recent talks on areas including diplomacy and defense. Both sides also undertook to begin negotiations on a negative list services framework this year. Chinese President Xi Jinping told Hipkins in a meeting on Tuesday that China had always treated New Zealand as a friend and partner, and was ready to promote a steady and sustained comprehensive strategic partnership.
不好意思，
那边坐。这是你的麦克风。待会我们拍的时候呢，如果我没有喊卡的话，你就继续念，不要停。OK。没有喊卡就给我继续念下去哦。
好的。Hello, I'm Wade Lee. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It is December 13th, and here are your top stories.
Israel's far-right government on Monday approved plans to build over 5,000 new homes in the occupied West Bank. The decision raised tensions with Palestinians at a time of rising violence in the occupied territory. The units are at various stages of planning, and it was not immediately clear when construction would begin. Over 700,000 Israelis now live in the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem, territories captured by Israel in 1967. And sold by the Palestinians for a future state.
The international community, along with Palestinians, considers settlement construction illegal or illegitimate and impedes peace. However, Israel's government, which took office in late December, is dominated by religious and ultranationalist politicians with close ties to the settlement movement. Palestinian official Wassel Abu Yusuf said, "The Netanyahu government is moving forward with its aggression and open war against the Palestinian people, whether through a policy of killing or through settlement expansion."
Aleksey Dyumin, a former Kremlin security agent, has emerged as a potential candidate to replace Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, whose ousting was demanded by Wagner Group boss Yevgeny Prigozhin during his mutiny attempt on June 24th. He previously served as Shoigu's deputy in the Russian Ministry of Defense, and several analysts, Western and Russian, believe he has his eyes set on returning to the department as its head.
Born in Kursk, in western Russia, Dyumin, 50, is a former agent of the Federal Guard Service that provides security for the president and other state officials, and was appointed as governor of Tula region by Russian President Vladimir Putin in February 2016. Dyumin served in Putin's guard when he was president from 2000 to 2008 as well as when Putin headed the government from 2008 to 2012. But pro-Kremlin political analyst Sergei Markov said on his Telegram channel this will not happen immediately.
The United Nations said Tuesday the surge in violence in Sudan is likely to drive more than 1 million refugees out of the African country by October, as the 10-week conflict shows few signs of easing. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees said, "We were talking about 100,000 people in 6 months fleeing to Chad. And now the colleagues in Chad have revised their figures to 245,000. So far, over 560,000 Sudanese have escaped to neighboring countries, with Egypt being the primary destination."
Sudan descended into chaos after fighting erupted in mid-April between the military, led by General Abdel Fattah Burhan, and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, commanded by General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo. Since then, over 3,000 people have been killed. According to the UN, about 2.5 million people have been displaced. The violence has been most acute in the capital, Khartoum, but also in the western Darfur region, where RSF and Arab militias are reportedly targeting non-Arab tribes.
More than 51 million people in South Korea awoke on Wednesday to find themselves a year or two younger, according to the law. Under legislation that came into effect Wednesday, all judicial and administrative areas across the East Asian country will adopt the international age system used by most of the world, ending years of debate about the problems caused by the formerly common use of Korean age and calendar age.
In South Korea, international age refers to the number of years since a person was born, and starts at 0, the same system used in most other countries. But when asked their age in informal settings, most South Koreans will answer with their Korean age, which could be 1 or even 2 years older than their international age. Under this system, which has its roots in China, babies are considered a year old on the day they're born, with a year added every January 1st.
Now let's delve into the news of South Koreans becoming younger overnight. Number 1, come into effect. 发生效力，生效. When do the new driving laws come into effect? Number 2, judicial. 法庭的、法官的、审判的、司法的. The inquiry acknowledges failings in the judicial system. Number 3, adopt. 采用某种方法，采取某种态度. All 3 teams adopted different approaches to the problem. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune into Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I'll see you next time.